What's up, guys? This is Sullivan Adams. This is me giving my latest review on episode 2 of season 5 of Samurai Jack, part 1. I call this one part 1 because I'm going to be doing both episode 2 and episode 3 back to back. I didn't have time to do it last week, earlier, so I'm going to put them both back to back, and that's why episode 3 is going to be part 1. Alright, episode 2 is going to be part 1, and episode 3 is going to be part 2. I know it sounds confusing. And also because I have a hectic schedule now. And I know I'm going to try to do my best to try to fill in the gaps. I'm going to try to rush through everything as fast as possible. So I'm going to put these videos like around back to back, as best. Anyway, let's get started. Alright, seeing this episode was one of the very unique ones because they see an Aku cameo, this side story, and also getting to see Jack versus the Daughters of Aku. Anyway, let's get started. We get to see the Aku, and one of the things I gotta note is that this Aku, it's a lot like how the Aku was in the original series. Aku when he first came out, he was this big bad, he was the series, but later he began to mellow out, and they really brought that in there. This time he just mellowed out a lot more than he was in the original series. Aku has become, he's the ruler of the world at this point. Probably there's a chance he's probably going to become the ruler of the universe. Probably somewhere down the line, if he's ever not stopped. It seems like he's what you call bored with his new position, but he still worries, We get to see him, how he handles people, he wakes up in his bed, like a guy that's getting ready to work and just does things so effortlessly. He deals with these weird mud people, how they set up this weird statue tribute, of him in the mud that makes up their bodies, how he kicks them out because they make a huge mess. I mean, they're like slime and mud people. We also get to see that he has a little bit of a therapy session with himself. And these scientists develop a new, looks like more advanced version of the beetle drones. And those beetle drones don't work. They never work. Which is a good thing. Seeing this. We get to see Aku plays therapy with himself, how he's also a patient and the therapist, we get to see that, it's been 50 years, he still knows about Jack and he's worried. We also get to see that he knows that Jack has, he gave a sign that he knew that Jack has gone crazy, that because of the 50 years that he's literally dropped into madness, at some point, and we also get to see that he and Jack haven't seen each other in years, which means he doesn't know that Jack has lost his sword, which kind of led to the inkling, But it's obviously that he's washed his hands of Jack because Jack keeps on fighting, and instead he's just gonna wait things out. He destroyed all the time portals. That includes every single time portal are gone. Does that mean that the one that predicted Jack's future, the one that was protected by Blue Morpheus, the Guardian, and played by Kevin Michael Richardson, which is the best voice actor ever, does that mean that that one is also gone? Seeing this, this also led to the inkling. We also get to see that Aku doesn't know about the Daughters of Aku, the assassin, saying that he still worries about Jack, the fact that he's still a threat, he's out there, and he didn't know, and he knows that Jack is now an immortal, that he discovers that the time when he first sent Jack through time, he made him immortal. Of course, that was an accident. So he never had any intention of making Jack immortal. I mean, why give more mortality to your mortal enemy? It doesn't make any sense, especially if he's trying to kill you. He just wishes that someone would finally get rid of Jack. And much to his luck, there is a group out there who is willing to do whatever can to kill Jack. We also get to see this side story about this white wolf, this white wolf, in a way, he kind of represents Jack, and he does so good. We get to see him take on these three giant green tiger-looking things. We haven't seen a tiger in Samurai Jack since that one episode, I think it was season 2, where Jack learned to jump good with the monkeys and that caveman-looking guy. That was one of my favorite episodes when he learned to jump good, because it wasn't just, about him just being the enemies of the week. He trained with the monkeys. That's one of my favorite episodes, personally. We had to see the wolf takes on these three giant tiger-looking things that open their mouths wide like These are crocodiles, you know, and these things are nearly over twice his size, you know, and these Thailand things. But he just goes in, you know, he goes in for the fight, which is pretty intense, you know. We have to see that Jackie has his encounters with the daughter. Well, how they literally obliterate his armor, you know. It takes everything Jack has to survive, you know. He fights off the amending onslaught, you know. And, you know, he does his best, you know, using anything. You know, he loses his weapons, you know, his guns, you know. They seem to have no effect on the assassins, you know. We have to see that Jack, you know, as he tries to survive and he goes into hiding, you know. We get to see that he's still struggling with himself, you know. You know, his inner turmoil and confidence, you know. We also get to see that there's a part of him that wishes that the conflict should end. You know, the fact the fact that he's arguing himself over this, like he knows that every enemy he's faced has just been machines. You know, that the fighting that he still has to keep on fighting, but there's a part of him that just wants it all to stop. Like he wants the fighting to be over. He wants it to end. That means that he wants to die. You know. Of course, Jack is still willing to fight. He's not giving up, you know. He's still willing to do this. But his other self, you know, his other person, hey, how long can you keep fighting? How much longer can you keep this up? And that's from the Samurai Jack trailer. I'm sorry I didn't do a review on that, you know. And that was a good video. I really enjoyed Samurai Jack, you know, as a kid, you know. And seeing Jack as battered and as broken as he was, you know. This just, you know, further cements, you know, his descent into madness, you know. And we get to see this horseman-looking thing and that's chasing after him, you know, clouded in armor and stuff. I think that's Jack's version of the Grim Reaper, you know, the one that's haunting him. You know how people, when they die, they see an omen of death? I think that's Jack's omen of death, you know, like he's this close to dying, and I think he's coming to claim his soul, you know, or what's left of it at this point. Sorry if that offends anybody. As the daughters of a true chasing Jack, they chase into this temple, you know. No, we get to see this elephant thing, you know, to see this tomb, you know. I don't know if this is Indian or whatever, but it's something else, you know. I'm just saying that because we get to see the elephant. Kind of looks like a niche, but it doesn't have those 8 arms or whatever. We get to see that things are different. You know, as the daughters chase him throughout the temple, he tries to find his way to survive through water, but these girls are relentless. He even fights them in the dark, and the way they did the lighting and the animation, that was definitely impressive, you know. I really enjoyed how they did it, you know, because it reminds me of classic Samurai Jack, you know, especially when they're trying to handle the pacing and the action, you know. I mean, especially when it comes to the part where nobody's talking, you know, and that was classic Jack, because Jack, you know, he was always a quiet person. He didn't talk. He didn't do a lot of dialogue. And that was classic for the series, you know. He was a straight-up action guy. He wasn't exactly a genius, but he wasn't a fool either. You know, he was strong, you know. And he was a full-on warrior, you know. And he always spoke wisely, you know. And Jack, you know, he did his best, you know. As you know, especially when it came to the daughters of Aku, the way he kept fighting. He even used their own weapons against them, you know. But when he realizes that when he fights one of Cool and he managed to kill one of them, you know, he realizes that he just killed a person, not a machine, you know, because you know Jack has already had bounty hunters after him, so this is probably the first time he's ever taken a real life, you know, in these 50 years that he's been you know in the future. It's obviously Jack has never killed anyone. He's always killed monsters. And that was one of the things about Cartoon Network. One of the reasons why they let the show slide so well is because he was a kick-ass samurai that had the potential to kill somebody, but they never did it. So they always went with the whole robot thing because they didn't want to show that much violence on TV and blood, you know. I mean, this was way back in the early 2000s before they began to censor everything, you know. Remember, anime and stuff like that was all available. That was one of the best moments of my childhood where things were off the chart, you know. But now that Jack has realized he just killed this girl, you know, it's gonna be a bit of an issue with him. And remember, I've already seen episode 3 already, you know. I'll give a review on that in a little while. You know, this is gonna be back to back. You know, I'm gonna put a link for that video in this one too. You know. And the way Jack escapes, you know, he's still bleeding. He got stabbed by the girl he killed, you know. Now, and he's using the same and the way he escapes, he uses the same sonic blade that he got from that Pied Piper looking assassin. That was voiced by Tom Kenny. He's a good actor. The way he did it. Like he used it, banged it against the wall, and made the whole side of the temple explode. And he dove into the river. I'm sorry about giving too much detail, but this was just badass. And the way they did, and the way they handled the blood, everything. Remember, it's being handled by Adult Swim now and not Cartoon Network, which means they have to go. It means they're going the mature route, and they have the right to. And now they're going to show as much blood and violence as much as possible, unlike the original series, which the series wasn't too violent, but it was violent. But that's what made the show awesome. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. Hope you enjoyed watching. This is Sullivan Hours giving my review on Samurai Jack Season 5, Episode 2. Oh, this was a good episode. See you guys next time. I'm out.